I'm Scott Vanderplu, and this is the AE Index Podcast, episode 113.
I went down to the St. James Infirmary, found my baby there, stretched out on a long white table, so sweet, so cold, so fast.
Welcome back to the podcast where we take all things AE, found at aeindex.org, and we bring it to vocal arrangements. I am looking at this month and what occurred in April, because this is May 1st when we record. And April is first month where I slowed down on reviews. Instead of, a review every Saturday, I slowed down this month, not particularly on purpose, just that's how things worked out, and I only had 2 reviews this month. I put up something that was a little different, and that is actually the feature this month, and that's Graffiti Designs Signed Editions. That's the post I did. Actually, let's just dive into that, shall we? I had, for years, I've been a fan of Graffiti Designs, wonderful books, but, their initial solicitation came out for the first couple books, and there was, you go to the website, and I love Graffiti Designs, love Bob Chapman, what he's doing there, but their website is just really old. It looks like it's from 1994. And when you go there and you look at these books, there was no information really. This is what Frank Miller's Ronin Signed Edition, this is what the whole solicitation is without a picture. 328 pages, 12-inch by 17-inch, Smith sewn hardcover, so that's the exact same information as the regular edition is. Price $295. So I'm like, what is this? So, and because you could only order them from the Graffiti Designs website from California with expensive shipping to Canada, I never bothered. I thought, forget it. So, all these editions have come out. Graffiti Designs is basically finished publishing. We may still see something, but I think realistically they're sort of done with gallery editions, but we'll see. I'd never say never. And all these editions have come out. So I was looking again. I was on eBay, and I thought there was a signed edition of the Ronin. They had nice pictures. And I never really given it much thought, because they were only available from Graffiti. I didn't want to commit to that. I was ordering from my local comic shop. I was getting a discount. Really happy with the regular editions I had from Graffiti Designs. But here it was. So I ordered it on eBay. That was a bit of a fiasco. And I received it, and I had actually ended up returning it because the solicitation said, the listing on eBay said sealed. New. So I get it. It's open. It's not new. And it's got some wear on the bottom of the slipcase, and I was a bit disappointed. But anyways, it did give me a chance to dive into this book, and that's what I really was excited about, because I opened it up, and I in this article I did I photographed every difference between the two books. And it's really important, I think, to specify and discuss just how much extra fit and finish is added to these Graffiti Design signed editions. So for this Frank Miller's Ronin, so first off, it comes in a slipcase. It's a solid color slipcase with debossed lettering, so that means embossed is raised, debossed is sunk in. So it says, on the front, it says Frank Miller's Ronin. On the back, it's got the Graffiti Designs logo for the gallery editions and Frank Miller's initials. And then on the side, it's stamped. So a really nice red slipcase. You pull the book out of the slipcase and you see that instead of just a solid cover, it's got a quarter-bound cloth spine with hot stamping. It says Gallery Edition, Frank Miller. So black material. Nice feel to it. And then when you open the book, there's a signature image. And so the copy I had was, they were signed out of 265. So I had the copy I had was there. The copy I had a bit of a problem. There was some, I don't know, what was it, glue mark or something from the front page to the signature page, but that's okay. I was a bit disappointed that it was a modern Frank Miller Ronin image and not something from the period, because I really would have preferred something from the period, even to reuse some art from the inside of the book. So I'm not crazy about Frank Miller's style currently, and if it's a book based on a period like this is, then art from that period would be much better. Also on the front cover, The sticker, not so sorry, the cover, the sticker of the cardboard case indicates it's a limited edition, and the signed numbered edition of Yours out of 265. Interestingly, there's no barcode, and there is no ISBN for these signed editions. I guess because it was only available through Graffiti Design's website, they did not want to pay for the extra ISBN number. So then when you get into the book and you look at the colophon, they're the exact same. So actually, once you get into the book and you get past that, the signature plate, the rest of the book is completely the same. But this is just a gorgeous volume. And I was back on Graffiti's website, and they have most of their books available in the signed and numbered format. Some are sold out. I mean, Dark Knight is sold out. There's none there. But lots of great other ones. Kevin Smith. Kevin O'Neill's League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. He's passed away, and here's a signed copy. And they're quite reasonable. Some of them, the premium for the slipcase, quarter-bound cloth spine, hot stamping, and signature page, it goes from $25 for like the Kelly Jones Batman up to $125 extra for the Brian Boland Killing Joke. So that's quite a swing, I'll admit, but you're getting a whole lot of value here. Like this Ronin is $100 more. It was $195 for the regular edition, $295 here. I mean, discussing previously with Scott Dunbier about signed and numbered books. Generally, the cost of the slipcase and then the cost of the signature plate, because you have to pay the artist to sign the book, sign the plate. They have to be printed. They're inserted separately. So $100 is to be expected to move from that. And like it's very impressive what you're moving from and to. Like I said, all these extra features, which I would expect on a nice high-end book, which we're seeing in these European editions, and this is a high-end book, and it really elevates it. So I did return this, and I've been debating internally with myself: do I replace my gallery editions with signed ones while they're still available? And I just couldn't bring myself to do it. The shipping is horrendous to Canada, and I looked at the resale value of the regular Graffiti Designs editions. And the resale value on a lot of these is pretty poor. So I thought, and because the interior is exactly the same past the signature plate, I'm just going to be happy with what I have for now. I've been debating this, for a while, so we'll see. Anyways, please take a look at the article, take a look at these pictures, really see what, it's amazing what they've added to this book and what you're getting for that value. And go on to the Graffiti Designs website. We've got the links there, and see if you can order directly from the publisher. There are some of these available at other retailer. Another online retailer has these books available, and I had some back and forth with them. They decided to use the images from my website in their in their listing. So I reached out to them and said, "Hi, you're using my images. Please either link to my site," which is fine. I mean, if you want to use my images, I just ask people to link to my site. Give credit where credit is due. I've done the work. I said, or you can pay me for the images, one or the other. So they apologized, and they took some of the images down, but not the rest. And I have to follow up. I really don't want to get into a cease and desist. Don't want to be that guy. But, I mean, I'm not doing this for exposure. I put in the work. You're selling something, and you're using my images to make money. So that doesn't quite sit right with me. All right. That's that. Let's talk shipping changes. We've had two shipping changes this month, actually. I guess to no one's surprise at this point, Youngblood Vault Edition has moved now to September 2nd. So it's over a year late at this point. That is just crazy. Let's go down to Vault Edition. So this was solicited for April 2025. Oh my goodness. It's going to be 18 months late by the time this book ships. The last date, that is brutal. And I'm not exactly sure what is causing this slowdown. Did they can't get the art, they can't scan it, there's no designer available? It's very mysterious. The other shipping change was Charlie's War by Joe Colquhoun, Apex Edition. It's out in England. If you ordered it from 2000 AD, then it is available now, but I'm getting mine from Lunar. And that date has moved from the end of April now to, it was the first week of May, now it's the second week of May. I don't know if that's going to change again. I'm still watching and waiting with bated breath because that looks like a great book. All right, so those 2 shipping changes. Let's talk solicitations because I've got 3 solicitations for this month. And first up, let's do Dupuis. So Dupuis lists normally books 2 months ahead of time. So this was listed in April. And that was Une vie en dessin. That's A Life in Drawing, which is that series of art books that they do. Normally they're over 300 pages. They're gorgeous. I love them. The latest one is Peyo, Johann et Puis-Louis. I don't know why. I feel like this is done by Dupuis and Champaka Brussels, who I feel like I've talked about them every month lately. But yeah, I feel like they're going to the well a lot. The same. So we've already had Peyo, Une vie en dessin. We've had 2 or 3 now. Artiste Editions. And I'm not sure I want to look at a Peyo art book of just Johann and Puis-Louis. I'll see. Maybe if I'm not going to get it on release. I may watch and get it on sale somewhere. But for now, not interested. Let me give you the blurb anyways. Sorry. Peyo always expressed his fondness for Johann and Puis-Louis, which is Peewit apparently in English, his first major series, which was overshadowed by the success of the Smurfs. He even sometimes described himself as a prisoner of the Little Blue Creature's enormous popularity, regretting that he could no longer dedicate himself to the adventures of Johann, the page, and his mischievous sidekick. This nostalgia is all the more understandable given that, of all the characters he created, Peyo had a particular affection for Peewit, whom he considered his alter ego. Moreover, it was with this series that he established himself as a comic book author, refining his storytelling skills, his balanced compositions, and his mastery of movement with each album. Approaching Peyo's art through Johann and Peewit is thus to return to the founding principles that guided one of the most beloved storytellers in Belgian comics. The unique approach of this beautiful book pays homage to a universe of multiple riches. This is being released by Dupuis on June 12th. It is 9¼ inches by 12½ inches. It's 256 pages. I'm sorry I said over 300. It's a hardcover. It's €69. You can order it online from the usual suspects. Amazon is where my link is. I will have, when I get a link, I will have Les Libraires, which is the independent bookstore conglomerate of independent bookstores that has a website in Canada and that ships. So that'll be exciting. All right. Also, the IDW May 2026 catalog came out, and that had a book that we've previously seen in the Penguin Random House solicitation, and that is Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees Artist Edition. So I'll give you the blurb here again. Every page of the groundbreaking indie sensation comic series scanned from Patrick Horvath's original paintings and presented like never before in one magnificent collection. In fall 2023, Patrick Horvath and IDW Publishing released the first issue of Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees into the world. With its unique blend of beautiful watercolor art and shocking subject matter, it instantly lit the comic book reading world on fire, and is one of the most popular original comic book series of the last decade. Questionable. Readers were captivated by the story of anthropomorphic serial killer bear Samantha Strong and couldn't spend enough time in the beautifully rendered town of Woodbrook. This glorious collection features every single page from the first series of the 10-page short story Preludium, all presented for the very first time exactly as Horvath painted them. Full size, no digital adjustments. Experience the full force of the art that became this decade's biggest comic sensation. Also included are 4 clear overlay pages that showcase patch panels, enabling you to see the original art and the final art as it was published. This is being released July 28th. It's 12 by 17 inches, 168 pages. It's a hardcover. It's $150 US. Like all artist editions, it seems IDW is sticking with that. And it's exciting to see this book. This is the first full artist edition from IDW that has no involvement from Scott Dimbier. He had his hand in there, just kept doing things for IDW up until even the last DC covers because he procured the art for them. So here we've got something completely unique. So we'll see how this book comes out. It looks very interesting. The catalog is, I always include a page from the catalog if it's there. And for some reason, they provided a quote from the Hollywood Reporter that said, "Prove that cuddly, furry animals and serial killers could go together like Java beans and a fine Chianti." And I thought, well, that's not the quote. So then I looked it up, and right, it's supposed to be fava beans. And we're talking, it's the quote from Silence of the Lambs, right? Hannibal Lecter, when he's in his cell. And then I thought, wait a second. Even that's not right, because the full quote is, it's fava beans and an ice candy. So then I checked the Hollywood Reporter. Yeah, they got it wrong. So Hollywood Reporter got it wrong, and then IDW misquoted Hollywood Reporter. So interesting. I'm hoping that kind of editorial error is not appearing in this artist edition. All right, one more for solicitations. That's April 2026 crowdfunding. This is exciting. So Delirium said that they were doing no more Den Brut editions, or Edition Brut, right, which is their AE format book of original art scans of Richard Corbin's Den. So this time we're getting Bloodstar, which is very exciting. Bloodstar Edition Brut. The Brut edition of Bloodstar, a limited edition of 550 copies maximum, numbered in a large 28 by 37.5 centimeter format and housed in a stunning slipcase to be unlocked. The Brut edition of Bloodstar and its fully unlocked version with a box set. Those are some interesting words there, right? This is Google Translate. So, actually, no, this isn't Google Translate. This is the translation that's available on Ulule, because you can change the page to English from French. All right, here's the blur. Bloodstar, work comprising 92 pages, is presented in its entirety in this Brut edition, printed in full color so you can fully appreciate Richard Corbin's masterful use of textures and materials. The impetus for this new edition came when Delirium located all the original art, finally making it possible to reissue this masterpiece as a world exclusive in 2022. We then reached out to Jose Villaruba to commission him to scan all the stunning panels created in 1975 by Richard Corbin, which now allows us, after obtaining permission from the work's rights holder, which is Corbin's wife, I believe, to offer you this magnificent edition. Considered by Richard Corbin to be one of his finest works, the opportunity to appreciate it in this high-quality reproduction at an affordable price is a true privilege available today, not only to fans of Corbin and his comic books, but more broadly to art lovers. All right, so it's 104 pages, full color, large format, 28 by 37.5 centimeters, which is 11 by 14 and 3/4 inches. Premium 170 gram offset paper, hardcover, glossy lamination, limited edition numbered from 1 to 550 max, presented in a rigid cardboard case with a protective cardboard sleeve to be unlocked. So let me give you some background on that information. So each time they run the campaign, they do 2 books. This book actually has Den 4 as just a color deluxe edition of that story, and then the Bloodstar Edition Brut. So what they do unlocks, right, as it reaches goals, and every time they just keep upgrading the whatever book they're doing, and then they do one upgrade for the Brut editions, and that's the only upgrade they do is a slipcase. I guess they could do other things. I don't know. I guess hot stamping. I guess they could do quarterback cloth spine. I mean, they can't do much, right? So anyway, so all these unlocks for the campaign, and they're all going towards the regular book that I don't care about. And then finally, it hits a level, and you get the slipcase. So far, all 3 have hit the level, and we've gotten the slipcase. This is the 4th one, as I said, not Den, Bloodstar. I assume we will see the slipcase for this. I believe so. A couple of things for North American buyers of this, which is, I think, a large portion of the listening audience. It is €75 shipping to North America, Canada, or the US. So on top of the €150, that makes it $225, which is a lot of money. So that's like $265 US. I don't even want to think of what that is Canadian. Wow, I don't really. Yeah, so $350 at least Canadian plus. I'm ordering it anyways, but what disappoints me is that they don't have a retailer bundle, and just nothing. I don't think they care whether retailers buy this or not. I did notice if it's 75 shipping for one, it's €130 shipping if you get 2, and if you go above 3, I noticed the shipping stays at $130. So I'm debating with myself internally: should I? Do I order 4 of these, the Brut editions, and get them shipped to me, and then just have to mark them up, right? Because at least the shipping is capped. But I got to try and recover that cost, right? So, and there's got to be, if I'm not making some profit, there's no point in doing it. So, what do I get 4 and do I end up charging, I don't know, like $250 US for it? I don't know. Anyway, debating. This campaign has a lot of days to go, so I have not committed yet. With these, I don't like to commit till the end because you literally also charges you the day you back it. So I figure why back it until the end? All right. That's it for solicitations. Because it was April, I got around to doing my AE format out of print sales for Q1 2026. So I talked about this before. I'm only doing the sales numbers in quarters now. So we had the first quarter wrap up, so I did the out of print sales numbers. So let's go over just some highlights of that. Shocking to see Alex Toth Bravo for Adventure Artist Edition first and second print going for, $37.50 and $45.33. This is an excellent book. It's just wonderful to see Alex Toth's art, and that's really cheap. Can't get over that. Graffiti Designs, Batman: The Dark Knight Returns, 3 copies, averaging $118.33 sold. Burning Rights and Artifact Edition, first print. I haven't seen those sell in a while. 4 copies, averaging $323.19. 3 copies of the second print, averaging $306. We're seeing some price dips on Best of EC Comics. 2 copies of Volume 1, $212.50. 0 copies of Volume 2 sold, interestingly. 2 copies of Bill Sienkiewicz's Mutants and Moon Knights and Assassins Artifact Edition, averaging $256.25. We haven't seen that price that low in quite a while. Chris Samnee's Daredevil Artist Edition, I added this a while ago. 2 copies sold, $256.25 average. I'm sorry, that is completely not right. It's 3 copies for $377.26. That's really climbing up there. I don't know how many times I saw that book languishing somewhere. 2 copies of Conan and Red Nails Original Art Archives, averaging $275. What else is standout numbers? I'm seeing low numbers, but what's the standout number here? I'm scrolling ahead. You can, of course, Fantagraphics Studio Edition Black Hole by Charles Burns, 2 copies, averaging $355.49. No other sales of Fantagraphics Studio Editions, which was surprising. Yeah. Frank Miller's Daredevil Artifact Edition, 1 copy sold for $42. I guess the artist edition is out, but that is wow, that's cheap. Frank Miller's Sin City, the Hard Goodbye Curious Collection, 3 copies sold for an average of $123.33. Gene Colan's Tomb of Dracula sold, the sealed copy, $500. $500. Wow. Herb Trimpe's Incredible Hulk, 5 copies sold for an average of $89.56. What else is big numbers here? Not necessarily big numbers, just surprising numbers. High or low, kids, high or low. Joe Kubert's Tor Artist Edition, 2 copies, averaging $219.70. 5 copies of John Byrne's Fantastic Four Artist Edition, averaging $178.47. 3 copies of John Byrne's X-Men Artifact Edition, averaging $283.03. Interestingly, because the Artist Edition is out, so people are really that hungry for a first print and paying $283. That's double what the cover price is of John Byrne's X-Men Artist Edition. 1 copy of John Paul Leon's The Wintermen sold for $299. 1 copy of Judge Dredd by Brian Boland sold for $400. 3 copies of Mark Schultz's Xenozoic Tales sold for an average of $299.98. That seems to be the new price for that book, $300. It's up there. 3 copies of Mike Mignola's Hellboy in Hell and Other Stories Artist Edition, first print, averaging $240. Wow. 1 copy of Original Art, the Dan Clouse Studio Edition, $150. That's below cover, because it was $175 cover, that book. RoboCop vs. Terminator Gallery Edition, 2 copies, averaging $325. This one's interesting. Sam Keith's The Max Artist Edition, 5 copies sold, because unfortunately Sam Keith has passed away. Suddenly it's a booming interest in this book, averaging $614.90 US. Wow. There was a bunch of ones that the prices just kept going up, but they just kept selling. Star Wars Artifact Edition, one place was clearing these out. 31 copies sold, averaging $31.13. I don't know who got a skid of Star Wars Artifact Edition from somewhere, but they are just blowing those out. Crazy. The Prisoner Original Art Edition, always still hanging there in that high price. I guess from all those Prisoners fans, because it's certainly not from, I don't think it's from necessarily comic fans. $324.67 averaging over those 3 books. Wallywood's EC Stories Artist Edition, first print, right? The original book, not the expanded version. 4 copies, $189.99 average. 1 copy of the second print, $145. 8 copies of Will Eisner's The Spirit Artist Edition sold that quarter. That's amazing. 152.62 average. What an amazing book. I hope everybody owns that and the volume 2. So great. All right. Let's see if there are any record settings in this period. Not a single record was set beating any of my previous high prices in that listing. All right. Whew. I feel like I've done a lot of fast talking here. I've got 2 reviews this month. We still got to discuss those, but first off, I got to throw it in. 3 ways to support the site. That's always appreciated. First off, Patreon patron. You can start at $1, €1, £1, whatever it is your local currency is, and you can go as high as you'd like. I mean, I certainly wouldn't want to tell you how high to go. That supports me that way. Patreon, interestingly, also just launched their own sort of social media platform. So it's just something within Patreon, and which I'm going to be doing more of. When I do a post on something and I normally add it to social media feeds, I'm also going to be adding it to Patreon, because I feel like that's one way at least that I'm get eyes on new posts. I don't do a lot of Patreon exclusive things. I appreciate the support, definitely, but I don't get there. Second way to support the site, please use the links on the site. The Amazon links, the Forbidden Planet links, the Les Libraires links, all those things, the eBay link, they all generate money for me. The Walt's Comic Shop links, very important as well. Walt pays a fee every month to advertise on my site for the links on the site and the reviews and the indexes, and for the ad on my newsletter. So I'm thankful for Walt and that. I'm also would be extremely thankful to add a North American bookseller to my advertising stable here of 1. Now it could be 2. Exciting. So if you're an advertiser, if you're a reseller in North America and you have an opportunity you want to put an ad up, that'd be wonderful. Or I could put links to you. Anybody, it'd be good. Lots of opportunities there. And the third way to support the site is to go to my page, aindex.org/store, and buy a book. I have a bunch of artist editions just sitting around in my office that I'd love to sell. I can't remember the last time I raised a price on that page. I just basically go in there every month or 2 and lower the prices. Some of those prices are pretty rock bottom. So if you have an opportunity and you'd like a book and I have it available for sale, I would certainly love that support. All right. That is the commercial aspect of this podcast is done there. Let's talk 2 reviews. So 2 reviews this month. Exciting. First one, Mike Mignola's Hellboy in Hell Artist Edition, Volume 2. Ignore all those solicitations from Image that said Book 2. That was never going to be the way. It's the cover image said Volume 2. And that's actually how the Colfin showed it. So this, I'll give you the blurb. Dive into the second half of Hellboy in Hell, issues 6 to 10, as well as numerous covers and story pages from award-winning creator Mike Mignola and the stunning oversized artist edition. This artist edition features including 5 issues of Hellboy in Hell, issues 6 to 10, as well as many covers and illustrations. This came out April 1st to the comics market, and it came out April 28th to the book market. That's a 27-day delay. That's from Image as they get their books from their comic seller / warehouser, Lunar, and then get it out there to Simon & Schuster US and Canada, and then Simon & Schuster gets it out to whoever else. So that's a 27-day delay. You can read all about that at aindex.org. This book, just gorgeous. I'm telling you, I could not get over the murky depths of the inks here. They're just gorgeous. You're just swimming in them. They're these swirling. Oh, they're just gorgeous. One of the things I've said before, one of my favorite aspects of original art. I love the inks. I love a rich, deep inks there, and when you can see the gradients, it really draws me in. That was when I was buying original art. That's really what I would focus on. Those really lots of inks there on the page. Just love it. And this book just is so gorgeous. To see Mignola's art is always a treat. It's stunning. But yeah, to take a look at these pages and just to really, really drink it in. Issue 6 to 10, wonderful. There's no lettering, of course. With this kind of work, you can't really get the sense of what's happening with Mignola and this storyline without the lettering. I mean, I'd always appreciate lettering, but it's very nice. And then you could just open up your own copy of this. I'm sure you've got it somewhere. I've got my library edition, so I followed along. I played the home game and followed along there. And then along with that, we got those issues, and then we move into, there's quite a bit of extras here, like a lot of stuff going on. Let me get the in there. Oh my gosh. So it's just, there's pages from Seed of Destruction, Wake the Devil, The Wolves of St. August, Box Full of Evil, Conqueror Worm, The Christmas Special, The Island, The Bride of Hell and others. I mean, the Fearless Dawn meets Hellboy covers. Dark Horse Presents Annual, The Pancake Story, which is awesome. Hellboy Strange Places, Giant Robot Hellboy covers, Free Comic Book Day covers, just covers, pages. Just so wonderful. It's interesting to compare, where even, you think Mignola, and he's got these hard angles, and he's really worked into this art style now after his periods at Marvel and then DC. And this, but even, you compare those Seed of Destruction pages to where Mignola is drawing even Hellboy in Hell here. You really see the evolution of his style, or the simplifying, right? An artist, long term like this really works to get his style down to the essence and what he wants to present. You can really see that. Thankfully also, because a lot of these pages are older, they have the lettering on there. That's right. I'm just going to harp again about the lettering, but, yeah, you can just read the 2 pancake pages fully. It's so great. And then lots of great pages. Just really nice. Did I have any issues with the book? No, not really. The only issue I had, there's a couple color plates, and these were in that gallery book that I featured a while ago. And then they're the watercolors, and they just, I don't know how, they just... the color seems to have seeped into the page. It is watercolor. The point of the colors is not that it's vibrancy, but it is. They present as they are, right? So it's nice they're included. The binding is a bit tight. I gotta say since Act 4, I feel like I've been saying this a lot. The binding's tight. That Wally Wood book, the binding was tight. This book's tight. They really need to loosen that up. I did the folding, right? I did the, stand the book on the spine, let the covers fall, put the pages, try and, get that going. It did not help. I could not loosen the spine up to save my life. And I think that, they're big books, big pages. You can really see where the weight of the pages is just keeping it open, but it's not quite there, right? I'd like it to a little more open. And then it's interesting that we got 2 written pieces in this book. We had one piece by Kevin Nowlan. I'm not going to call it what's titled in the book because I don't feel that's accurate. Kevin Nowlan talks about lettering for this. It's awesome. And then we have, at the end of the book, there's another piece by Steve Purcell where he talks about going to art school with Mike Mignola. It doesn't really relate to this work at all. So, I get it's there, and then it was available. But shouldn't the text pieces really refer, at least either give us some background into the work that's in the book, or, focus on what that is and not just generalization. Yeah, the other thing to really discuss here is Serban Krasiscu's design. It's quite engaging. There's I said in the review, my favorite thing is there's a piece of art in the Kevin Nowlan piece right in the middle, just Hellboy's eyes. It's gorgeous. But then as I looked on it more, there's this little skull with a crown on it. He sort of appears lots of places in the book, the spine and other things. I did think, after I posted the review, somebody asked me, hey, how do the 2 spines compare from Hellboy and Hell and Other Stories and this volume 2? They do not compare at all. The designs are completely different, completely separate. There's no continuity between 1 and 2. I don't know if that's important. I'd really rarely care about how spines look on a bookshelf, but anyways, the picture's there. All right, last review of the month. Johan et Pierre-Louis, or apparently in English, Peewit, I didn't know that. Depuis Artiste Edition, Les Lutins du Bois aux Roches. So that's The Goblin of the Rocky Woods in English. So let me give you the blurb on this book. In retrospect, Peyo considered The Goblin of the Rocky Woods to be the true launch of his career. How can one disagree when observing his graphic progression as well as the dynamism that's a good word, and vitality that now characterizes his panels. But above all, Peyo added to Johann this sidekick who would quickly come to embody the soul of the series. Pierre-Louis is not only the main character of The Goblin of the Rocky Woods, but also its hero. He's at the heart of the first third of the story. He takes the reins of the action when Johann is imprisoned. He reveals the deception and the kink, and it is his shrewdness that exposes the two traitors. It is he again who frees Johann and allows the royal troops to storm the castle. I find these solicitations, French solicitations, very interesting because they still focus on the story. Like they're going to gloss over the fact that this is a book of original art, full-size scans. These are 17.45 inches by 21.9 inches. This is a giant book. And they just gloss over that in the description. This is 80 pages, 229 euros. Again, the production values of these books from Dupuis, the artist editions, are gorgeous. This is, again, put together by Champaka Brussels, a publisher that I can't seem to get any more information on and can't seem to get in contact with. Hopefully, at some point, they'll take pity on me and reach back out to me. Or a listener or reader from France will know how to get in contact with them in Belgium and get back to me there. I'd love it. This book, I mean, the covers are ridiculously thick cardboard, just crazy. And then they've got this quarter-bound cloth spine, hot stamping, comes in the cardboard case. These are individually numbered. It's stamped, not hand-numbered, which is okay. But then you get into the book, and it's so gorgeous. This is the presentation. I mean, the size is stunning, right? I mean, it really presents well. You really see Peyo's early work, as he said. And, but like, I mean, how many Peyo Artistes Editions can I have here? I feel like I'm getting, this is the third one. Let's, move on to something else. Let's give us anything else. Surely there must be more material out there. Or start reprinting. Reprint those Franklin ones. I mean, just give us something else. There's a new book coming out, and they're done another Buck Danny book. So that's fine, I guess. We only have one of those, but that's coming. So don't. That's just. I saw that on a French website. So solicitations are out yet. But I digress, as always. This book, you got this great introduction, non-introduction essay at the beginning of the book. A lot of original art in it, covering Peyo, what's happening, how he's developing this early story. And then we move right into it. It's got the full album. And then we get 4 short stories at the end. And it's you can see some artistic differences there. The pages present very well. These ones, a lot of staples in these ones. Not. I noticed that previously the French books we've seen, the pages were in half, and we saw an A and B. These ones aren't in half. They're more 1/3, 2/3, and they're not numbered. They're not, A, B. They're just, you see the staples from where they were stapled to something, but that's it. So it's a little bit different. Correction fluids there is always not heavy on the gradients, the inks. The image enlargements are really enlarged, and they're good from far from good. Let's put it that way. You can see when on the image of the cover, it's really blown up. That is one panel that they've made this giant size, and the same with the. There's a couple other pages in there that are enlargements, and they're just too enlarged. Like they're cleaned as best they can. It just doesn't pop or present the way I'd like it to present. Still, another gorgeous book. I'm not saying Dupuis and Champaka here can do no wrong, because they certainly can, but by limiting themselves in the material they have. I really wish they'd expand, but this is another gorgeous book, and this is the only French series, the only French publisher, or Belgian publisher, I should say, right? That I'm getting every one of them. Now, I have been pre-ordering, and I've been getting these so that I get it right away. And that is costing me because these books do frequently go on sale on Amazon. I would recommend, if you are on the fence these, I would check the Amazon listings and check it out, because these frequently go on sale for like half of what their list price is. So certainly an option. All right, that's it for me this month. Thanks for listening, as always. Next month, we've got some exciting things. I'm going to Montreal next week, so my goal is to hit up all the BD stores in Montreal, see what French and Belgian books I can get there. I'll also hit up the English stores, but with no expectations, because there aren't a lot of English books I'm looking for. But there's a lot of French books I'd like to see, because you want to, all these books I order online, like just when I went to France last year and I got to hold them in my hand and look at these and like, wait a second. Yes, this is something I want. This is amazing. So I'm hoping to do the same thing in Montreal, because it was wonderful. The only, province that is French in Canada, and certainly there's no states in the United States that are French. So this is your opportunity to immerse yourself in French culture in North America. So be doing that. So thanks and listening, and we will talk again next month.
Let her go, God bless her. Wherever she may be, she can search this wide world over. She'll never find a sweet man like me.